welcoming you into the Power Lunch. I am sitting alongside Miss Beth Garrett. We're here for the third annual
Livin for Lane Memorial Golf Tournament.
and Beth. Really exciting. It's the first time we broadcast from here, but it is really, the atmosphere is really, really good.
Joyful.
It is.
Yeah.
It's very much so. We were on the other day talking about the tournament, and you informed us then that there were no.
How it would, yeah. We have a sold out field for the third year in a row, and you can see, it. Almost everybody here has played all 3 years, and New Lane, or we're very close to our family.
Yeah.
So, you can feel him here.
Well, you really can, and the atmosphere is really good, as you mentioned. It's very joyous, and of course, everybody's at lunch now.
Yes. We have lunch. Sponsored by our dear friends Morgan Kincaid Chandler and her dad Dick Kincaid.
Yeah.
Of course, 119 and Dukes.
Yes.
Two of our favorite haunts, and they provided lunch for the tournament. And we've got sliders and watermelon and chocolate chip cookies, and so everybody's enjoying that right now. And we're about to. I'm supposed to be down at the. I see that my ride left me. I'm supposed to be at the prize putt, which is going on right now.
Yep.
It's great fun. Everybody
Yes.
loves that. And then we'll have a shotgun start at 12:30.
Well, this event celebrates Lane and his life, but it also brings awareness to organ donation.
That's right. And we have Donate Life at the table actually right beside us.
Yeah, and Grace is going to be joining me.
That's right. Grace is going to talk. Wonderful liaison for us, a wonderful friend, so supportive of everything we do. One thing I didn't say on the radio the other day that I will say today is that they let me know, and they brought me my framed poster. But Donate Life has done a campaign where they have taken local heroes across the state to put in the driver testing centers on a poster to make it really personal for people. And so Lane was chosen to be on a poster. Very touching, very sweet. And so his face will be at the driver testing center for people to decide whether they want to sign the back of the driver's license.
And it connects people with someone.
It does.
Someone who grew up in this community, and you as his mom, and Annie as his sister, continue.
Right.
I hope to talk to him.
Yes, I hope so too. You can catch her.
She's running around in
She is. I told Kenneth, I do a lot of the front end work. I deal with getting sponsors, and I take registration, and they make fun of me because I've got my multi-sheet Excel spreadsheet that I have everything on, but I do a walkthrough soup to nuts. But once we get to last night, Ben and Annie take over.
Yeah.
So
Well, one of the other things, Beth, that you have to be extremely excited about it and thankful for is the number of volunteers.
crazy. We have 33 volunteers that are strictly here volunteering their time. They've taken a day off work, and they are here volunteering to make this thing come off, which is what.
These are people that know Annie and New Lane.
They all knew Lane. They're Annie's friends, Annie's co-workers. Some of them are here. Family members. We got some feedback.
Just a little bit, but we're good.
Okay. But we've got family members. We've got friends. It's just amazing.
Well, and that's one of the things that makes a tournament like this so special.
Right.
Is that it is a community effort, and some of your sponsors, as you mentioned, know Lane all of his life,
Right.
and,
Right.
went to school with him,
Right.
And that,
Many of the people playing are his people. A lot of these guys, grew up with him, went to school with him, miss him, and they come out here and do this because they feel him here.
yeah.
So
There's something to be said about the number of people that are still trickling in.
yes,
And the tea time is 12:30.
12:30. Yes.
12:30 is they'll be teeing off here. Sorry, they don't want.
Yeah, don't come out and try to sign up. We don't have any. We're out of carts.
No space. No
We're
cart.
maxed out.
Yes, and no walkers allowed. We need to take our first break of the show. We come back. We're going to continue our conversation before we let Beth go and man her post. But we are live out at Greystone Golf Course. We're at the Livin Fort Lane Memorial Golf Tournament, and we'll be back in just a moment here on the Power House. All right, we're back here at Greystone Golf Course, and one of the best golf courses in this area, and does a lot. This is the place where they played the OBC championship back in the old OBC. They play golf tournament. And if you're going to do a golf tournament, Greystone is the place to do it. And there's no better cause than why we are here today, and that's Livin for Lane Memorial Golf Tournament. And Beth Garrett, Lane's mom, is with us. And when you think about, and we were talking about this, you look around the room and just classmate after classmate coming in here.
I love that
to play in this tournament, and just the acknowledgement of how important Lane was to not just you as a mother, but to his friends as well.
Right. It's so sweet. So sweet. And you mentioned Greystone. There would be nowhere else to do this tournament because this is home for us. This was home course.
Yeah.
Lane and Ben and all of his guys, Cole, have walked a thousand holes on this course. But they and the country club before that, they drove everybody crazy there. But that they got to be really great at the game because of it.
Because of it. Well,
they did.
When you think about now, the impact that his life continues to make for others.
Yes.
Because when you talk about organ donation, number one, oftentimes it's not something people think about.
Right.
Until it happens.
Or until you need an organ.
Until you need an organ. That's what and now, in his memory, you and Andy are champions, have become champions.
Yes, of this cause.
Yeah. And so talk a little bit about that, the impact that you hope to make in this community, just with the understanding of organ donation.
So like you said, this is we were all three, Lane, Annie, and I, organ donors. It was something that Lane talked about from the minute he got his driver's license. That was important to him. We talked about it off and on through the years. It was something that was important to the three of us. And on losing him in that horrible moment, it was just a light for us to hang on to, but to know that he was going to go on living through other people, and he, Lane's organs and Tennessee Donor Services, people don't know this obviously unless you've been into this, in this process, and hopefully you never are, but
if you are,
but Tennessee Donor Services really takes care of the donor families and really champions their donor heroes, because that's what they do that's their whole goal in life, is to educate people, get people on that registry, and save lives by organ donation. Lane, they give you information, not personal information on people, but we know exactly, the age and
the recipient.
who the recipients, we don't know their names or they don't give you their names, but just that, we know that his organs saved 8 lives and his tissue donations saved, those are innumerous because that goes for testing and research and, for burn victims and for, it's countless lives.
And you don't really think about that. Again, as I mentioned, that we talked about this the other day, you don't really think about that until
you're in that horrible moment. If you or your loved one needs it and your life is dependent on it, that's really when it comes to knock on your door. I think we talked about on the radio the other day, this is not a happy statistic, but 20 people a day die waiting on an organ transplant. That's a staggering, and if you're on that side of it, that's a bad statistic. There are people who've been on the transplant list for years. I know you can speak personally to that.
Well, they're not even different, but they will.
Right. And so many factors go into that's why you need that registry to have as many people on it as possible because you're trying to match a needle in a haystack.
It really is just that when you look at just the statistic of how many people pass away or die waiting for just imagine how many people are on that list.
Right. And I'm digging this out of my head, and I think Grace may have some more information on this, but I think I don't even want to give the statistic because I don't want to give a wrong one. But I know that there are more than 100,000 people on the list nationally.
Yeah.
And I will say we're very lucky in Tennessee because we have Tennessee Donor Services that takes care of our state. They are, an amazing OPO, which is an organ procurement organization. I'm partial to them because I've been taken care of by them.
Yes.
And Annie now works for them. And she is an organ recovery specialist. And, it changed the whole trajectory of her career because of our personal experience.
Yeah. And that's, when you think about that, and a lot of times that's what, when it falls at your door, it has that kind of.
Yeah, and she said this morning that she feels like it was a door that was open to her, and it is now a passion. Yeah. So, that's important work, and I'm really proud of her. Proud of Lane for being an organ donor. Proud to be able to make people aware of this and aware of the importance of it. Love giving it this kind of exposure.
Well, we want to encourage everyone in our listening audience to become familiar with organ donation. Tell your family.
Talk about it.
You can speak to that.
I very much can. Anybody. I can. And Annie experiences this on a daily basis but as a family, this was something we had spoken about. And in the moment of Lane's passing, they didn't have his ID and his wallet and everything. And I said, Lane is an organ donor because I knew that he was. And to speak to that just a little bit, if that's something you've talked about with your family, then they don't have to make that decision.
Yeah.
And on top of that, they know that they're following through with your wishes, which is meaningful in that horrible moment.
And when you think about it, too, that in that moment, the fact that you don't, the family doesn't have to make that decision because that decision is already been.
It's a huge burden lifted off them.
Then that's massive.
Right. It's a huge burden. And I can't speak enough about what how meaningful it was to us. It gave us something to grasp onto and pulled us just a step out of that dark place of losing our lanes, you know. And Annie has said, we say it all the time, that saved us, you know. And I think that people don't, like we said, it's just something you don't think about. You don't think about the impact that it will have. And going down the road, 2.5 years later, what it means to us to know. We received a letter from the heart recipient just in the last month, and I don't really have the word for what it meant to me. I really don't. Kind of transcends words for me.
Oh, I can
So sweet and so meaningful, and I mean, this is a person just like me who had a life and had children and a grandchild, and all of a sudden had no heart function and needed a heart transplant. And so, Lane's heart saved her life, and that's significant.
Well, and of course, being a healthy young man,
Right. Right. So that's another statistic I do know, one that I use often is, and they made us aware of this through working with Donate Life, less than 2% of the percentage of people, which for the state of Tennessee is below 50% of people who register, but less than 2% of those people can actually donate their organs because we don't die healthy. And so, when you start thinking about those statistics, you can see why it's a needle in a haystack.
Yeah.
Because it's a precarious position to be on the other side of that, needing an organ.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing that when you start to grasp and you start to understand there's this and how important all of those things are. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back after the break and with more. We're live out at Greystone Golf Course here in Dixon for the Livin for Lane Memorial Golf Tournament. We're back in just a moment. All right, we're back here on the Power Lunch. It is a little bit loud in here, but Kenneth Forte with you here on the Power Lunch, and I've got this. And you're married.
I am newly married. Yeah.
So what's your new name?
New last name is Deaton. Deaton. Yeah.
Okay, and I gotta get used to that.
I have to get used to it too. Okay. So, me too. You're not alone.
Look, it's so funny because your mom and I talk, Beth and I talk all the time. She's like, I remember them when they were. She's like, I know.
Uh-huh.
Me too. It won't go back to that time. Well, Eddie, we're here for the Livin for Lane Golf Classic, Memorial Golf Classic, and we're so excited to be on the video. And, this is, as your mom and I talk, this is phenomenal. And as Lane's sister, you have to be excited to be able to celebrate him,
Yes.
but also to educate people about organ donation.
Mm-hmm. It is exciting, and that's why we did it. Is because we needed something. When we lost him, we needed something to look forward to and to pour ourselves into.
Yeah.
And this tournament became that, and we could have never imagined that it became what it is now. I mean, the first year we didn't know if we were going to do it again. We hoped it was an every year thing.
Yeah.
But the first year, I mean, we had people come from everywhere to play in it and to sponsor and just to donate and to come volunteer. And now every single year it just gets better and better, and it's amazing.
Well, we're happy to be here today.
I'm so glad y'all are here. I'm so glad.
With all families. So it's
yes.
Now, one of the things, because even in the midst of what going through losing weight, you found your cause.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So me and Mom and Lane had actually talked before about the fact that I think it was when I was getting my driver's license, and we all talked about the fact that they were organ donators or on their license. And so I was like, well, of course, like I want to too.
Yeah.
So when we lost him, we immediately, told the doctors, he's an organ donor. And TDS, Tennessee Donor Services, came in immediately and talked to us and got to work matching his organs. And it was that was actually, that night was 2 weeks before I was supposed to start as a nurse in ICU at my first ever nursing job.
Wow.
And I looked at, there are family care coordinators with Tennessee Donor Services, and their whole job is to guide the family through the process of donation and to be there for them. And I remember looking at her, and she was a nurse as well. And I was just like, I don't think I want to be a nurse anymore. After losing my brother and being at the hospital with him, I just had that feeling. And she grabbed my face and she said, I don't know you. I just met you, but you were born to be a nurse, and you will be a nurse, and you'll be an amazing nurse. And that just stuck with me. And I showed up to work 2 weeks later and loved it. And nursing, I knew nursing was my calling. It was just after going through that, I had that moment. And then, so fast forward, like 6 months after losing him, we had our first Livin for Lane Memorial Tournament. And Tennessee Donor Services brought a team and played. And then afterwards, I always speak, and I speak to who Lane was. And I also tell the story about him donating his organs and where they went. And I also raise awareness for organ donation in that moment. And afterwards, one of my now bosses walked up to me and she was like, okay, so I hear you're a nurse. And I was like, yeah, I am. And she said, well, if you ever want to be a nurse for us, give us a call. And I thought on it for months and months and months. And I called them, and I went through all the interview processes, and I now work for them, have for a year and a half now. And
Wow.
when I tell you, that is what I was put on earth to do. It is my calling.
Yeah.
I'm an organ recovery coordinator. So I get the donor ready to go to the OR and match the organs up to their recipients. And I get to coordinate all of that, and fly in the surgeons and get them to Nashville for the recovery. And it's amazing. And I also get to work with donor families just like me and my mom.
Yeah.
And I see so much of us in so many of our families, and I can really connect with them and be there with them, because I unfortunately do know what they're going through.
Yeah.
But organ donation is such a light in a dark time.
Yeah.
And I get to do it every day.
And I could, when you look at the fact that not everybody gets to actually walk through their home.
Yeah.
If you get to do that and be there for people, because you're not but you can sympathize with them.
Yeah.
Because you have that experience.
Absolutely. It's a really rare ability to get to do that and to get to be that for those families. Only a few of us on staff have experienced it and have had a loved one, lost a loved one, and gone through the donation process. And it's a really unique experience, but really every coworker, every staff member has such a passion for it. And it's just an amazing place to work. It's an amazing cause to, dedicate your life to and your career to. And I hate what got us here. I miss my brother every single day, but I feel him every single day.
I can only imagine when you get to go and share with others outside of even those people, just to talk to people about what that is like. Because when they hear your story, I would think it would move people to really want to add to the donor register by becoming a donor.
Right. And I think it probably does. It adds some humanity to it. Or, it's not just, hey, put this on your driver's license. It's a story of how it actually impacted my family and then 7 other families, So it's amazing. And I could talk about it all day long, every day.
So how often do you go out and have conversations with just different organizations? Because there are a lot of people who are not aware.
Yeah.
Because you get your driver's license. They just ask you, do you want to be an organ donor? Most people don't even really know what that encompasses.
Absolutely.
And so I imagine there's a lot of education that you have to do, and your coworker, your heart have to do as well.
Yeah. So we actually have a whole group of staff members that are hospital development coordinators who go into the hospitals and educate all the hospital nurses and the hospital staff on what organ donation really looks like and how people become donors and how to, navigate a situation when you have a patient that, might have some organ donation potential. And their whole job is really education on that. And Tennessee Donor Services does a really good job of having events that bring awareness and sending staff members to educate to hospitals and out into the community too. And then me and Mom have, just in the past year, we've been on news stations, we've been on different online news channels. I mean, just any way to spread the awareness, because you're right. I mean, other than going to the DMV and signing, they don't really know what it entails or what they're signing up for, or even if they want to. And so it is important to get the word out, for sure.
And my assistant at the station, we were talking about that, and she's an all-important donor because she saw firsthand through her family, because their family was recipient of kidney.
Yeah.
And, I know firsthand because my sisters were on dialysis waiting for
Wow.
kidney. So, in particular, that's something that in the African American community is not pushed, and it's not, but part of that is, helping to educate every community that you can be, you can be a donor when that time comes, but also to educate, the recipients that are out there.
Absolutely, yes, and it's like you said, even when people don't know to register, or maybe they choose not to, when they're, some people only think about that decision when they renew their driver's license. But there are other ways. I mean, you can go on donatelife.org, and there are different links to just sign up. And another thing that I think is amazing is, you don't necessarily have to be registered. If you're registered, obviously it makes it easier.
Yeah, it makes it easier.
We know your wishes, and but our family care coordinators give every family that option of, your loved one wasn't registered, but that doesn't mean that they can't be. If you, if this is something you think they would have wanted, or if even, that you think it should happen, you get to make that decision as a family. And it's really special when families because like I said, it's just a light in a really dark moment.
Yeah.
To get to know that your loved one is a hero and is saving someone else.
Well, the information that people need, you guys give. And sometimes it's in a difficult time when it's hard for people to hear.
Yes.
So that's why I think, with the way now you renew your driver's license, you just do it online.
I know.
Nobody thinks about it.
Yeah.
So that makes your job even more important to just educate communities on this could actually potentially help somebody even in your community.
Absolutely. There are so many people waiting for a kidney, waiting for a liver, lungs, a heart, even a pancreas, intestines. I mean, there are so many people on those lists, and I mean, it can save a life. You know,
and that's what that's huge.
Yeah.
Because even in a tough time, you can extend the life of someone else.
Yes.
Just by being a donor.
Yes, absolutely.
I need to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and keep talking.
All right.
It's so funny, you see, seeing people grow up. And you grew up.
I did.
So proud of you.
Thank
so
you.
Proud of what you do.
Thank you.
And how you are making a difference.
Thank you.
Because you really are. And I know Lane is smiling.
I think so. I think so.
No, without a doubt.
We feel him here today. Every year. This tournament is all about him. It's everything he would have loved. It's all his people. It's his game of golf on his favorite course. So, I mean, it is a good day, and I feel him here. So
you're awesome. Need to take a quick break. We'll be back in just a moment. You're locked into the Power Line here on 101.5 The Ride. We are back here at Greystone Golf Course, and we're so happy to have you tuned in for today's show. We are here for the Living for Lane Memorial Golf Tournament here at Greystone. Kenneth Forte with you, and we're happy to have from Tennessee Donor Services Miss Gracie and Thompson. I got it right. When I looked at it.
Good job. Good job.
Well, Gracie, we've had a chance to talk with Annie, and I imagine, in the role. Tell us a little bit about what your job is and why you're out.
Yeah, so I am the Middle Tennessee External Affairs Coordinator with Tennessee Donor Services. So my job looks a lot like public education. It's very community-based. In my role, we really just foster partnerships within our community. We educate the public on organ donation so we can really bridge that gap, get more people to register as donors so we can take more off the wait list.
Well, and we talked about that with Beth, and we talked about that with Annie. And, just looking at, the materials that you provided, people would really be amazed at how many people in Tennessee alone are actually on the waiting list.
Yes. So nationally, there are over 100,000 men, women, and children on the wait list. In Tennessee, there are 3,000 alone waiting. And the crazy part is out of Tennessee, there's only about 44% of Tennesseans who are actually registered. So that's where my team steps in. We really focus on education. So more people will check yes to being a donor. So we can really grow that 44% to the entire state.
So for let's say an organization or a church or whatever, I just need someone to come out and communicate exactly what you just said and educate, because that's the big key is the educational piece, so that people, because you have events where you sign people up, because you're signing people up today.
Yes, correct. So that's what we do. We provide plenty of information for the public. We are here, feet on the ground at any event, so we can ask those questions, so we can answer those questions. People have plenty of questions, rightfully so, when it comes to organ donation, and so my team is here, feet on the ground, to answer any questions that they have, smooth over any worries that they may have when it comes to organ donation, and then if they're comfortable, being able to register them.
Well, because sometimes it's hard for people to hear.
Yes.
Because, we just automatically assume, we think that. It's like getting life insurance.
Exactly.
Doesn't mean you're going to die because you sign up to be a doctor.
Right. And it's funny because when it comes to this line of work, being at events, it's challenging because people see our table and they're like, what are you? What do you do? And we have to really frame our mission a very specific way, because like you said, when you hear organ donation, you automatically think death, and people don't want to talk about death at a fun golf tournament, know? So that's part of our job too, is to really do away with the scaries of donation. Donation is, yes. And organ donation has a beautiful side to it as well. And so that's part of where my team comes in to share that with people so they are more comfortable with the topic of it.
Yeah, because when you think about, we look at communities of color disproportionately represented on the waiting list, and all of these communities, there needs to be education, whether it's in the white community, black community, Hispanic community, all other ethnicities. The educational piece that you provide really can, if you can just get a few people to sign up.
Correct. It just takes that one to really get going. And what we have found too is more people are willing to register and sign up when they feel that personal connection to it, whether that is somebody that they knew, whether that was at an event and they saw us here, they were comfortable speaking to us, whatever that connection that they have to it, it always helps them make that decision, take that step. But our numbers, it's interesting when you look at the breakdown of the numbers in Tennessee. So, for example, there are 48% of the white community are waiting, and 85% are registered. But then when you look at the Black community, the Hispanic community, 45% are waiting, but only 9% are registered. So that's a huge gap that we're really trying to bridge. And that's where it really starts with just that one saying yes. And then the more you talk about it, the more you hear about it, the more connections you have to it, people become more and more comfortable with that, making that yes decision.
Well, because it's not that you guys are not out there trying to get people registered. It is overcoming the fear of
it.
registering.
Yes.
You know, how do you, I mean, what's the message to people that, you know, because again, until something falls on our doorstep, we don't tend to pay attention.
You don't think about it until you have to think about it, really. For me personally, and I always frame it to everybody that it is a personal decision, whether you decide to register or not. Always let your family know your wishes. But for me, it was an easy decision. I am personally under the assumption that when I'm gone, I won't need my organs anymore. So if I'm able to help a family out, I want to be able to do that. And that is the beautiful side of organ donation is you see the hard moment that a family and loved ones may be facing, but then you also see the silver lining where their loved one is able to leave a legacy and you know, help a grandfather get, you know, more years left with their grandchildren or a teenager. Like there's just so many stories. I could go on and on about how many stories we have heard from our families that even, you know, Lane, he left such a beautiful legacy. And that's really where we tend to frame it is your loved one can leave a legacy. You can leave a legacy behind.
And I think that is so important. I love this. 2.7 million Tennesseans are registered on the Donate Life Tennessee registry. And as you mentioned, 85% of those are white, 9% those are Black. And you look at the need and you look at the disproportion, in particular in the African American community, there is a need to educate every community.
Correct.
And bring, you know, because you're reaching so many people by just, again, the organ donation. And because it's not, and as an African American, it's never been something that's been stressed.
Right.
And so now you guys get to come in and educate people.
Correct. Yeah.
So,
and that's the exciting part of it when we get to calm over those fears with people, when we see that light click on where they're like, wait, this is actually neat. I think that this is something that I may want to do. I want to register. It's always, it always puts a smile on our face when we're like, it's one more person to register. It's one more person to register.
It's getting people to feel comfortable and knowing you don't want them while they got them and they're using them.
Exactly.
You're not using them.
Exactly.
Then somebody else might be able
Correct.
to use
And
them.
that's a very
I know that was
common
comical, but
no, it's true. It's a very common misconception. People will automatically assume if you are a registered organ donor, then when it comes time at the end of life that, you know, medical professionals won't do everything they can to save your life, then that is completely false. That is beyond fabricated. A team of medical professionals, their job is to save your life.
Yes.
And so our team only is called and we only step in once that brain death declaration has been made. Like we do not step in prior to that. So that's another thing we try to educate people on. Like we're not alerted at all. You will never get a phone call from us if you sign up to be registered.
Can we have that now?
Yeah, like, hey, we know somebody who could use one of your kidneys. Are you ready? No, that's not how it goes. That's not how it goes at all. But it's a common misconception that we try to clear up for people.
You have them call and say, hey, you need that liver?
Yeah. Do you still want your heart? Are you sure? You can get rid of it now if you want to. No.
Well, and again, that goes back as we said to the importance of education, which is what you guys do, what you do personally for Tennessee Donor. And the thing about it is, most people probably were just not aware of what you guys do or who you are.
Yeah. Yes. And so you'll hear us often say too, we're with Donate Life Tennessee,
Mhm.
because when you hear Tennessee Donor Services, people assume money.
Yeah.
Especially like at an event like this, they see our table. What are you doing? And if we say we're with Tennessee Donor Services, they're like, "Oh, do you want our money?"
Yeah.
That's not what we want at all. We just want to be able to educate you. So if you feel comfortable, if you feel led, sign up to be an organ donor. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's something that is so important. So we encourage folks. Now, people can also go online into you guys' website and get information. Can they not?
They can go to TennesseeDonorServices.org. And then if they want to register to be a donor, you can go to DonateLifeTN.org, and you can specify your donation as well. If say you just want to be an organ donor and not a tissue donor, you can specify that, or vice versa. Or even if you want to get down to the nitty gritty, like I want to donate my heart, but I don't want to donate my kidneys, you can specify everything on DonateLifeTN.org.
You won't need any of them.
I know, but that's a question we get asked, so we have to be prepared to answer.
It's like, can I keep this one? A little humor helps, but
it does.
but people
It does.
really,
I know.
They literally ask that question.
They will ask if they can specify, and most of the time, the reason they ask is say they have a health condition that has maybe affected a vital organ. They'll ask, like, if I can't donate my heart, could I still donate something? Or say, if I can't donate my liver, could I still donate something else? And you can.
Yeah. So. Not why you need them, but
exactly.
But you can get on the Tennessee donation register to be able to donate. We need to take our final break of the show, and we'll do that, and we'll be back in just a moment. All right, we're back here on the Power Lunch and wrapping up today's show, and Gracie Thompson from Tennessee Donors. It's Tennessee Donors
Services. Yeah, you're so close. I'll give it to you anyways.
Now, tell people how they can reach out to you guys and what websites they can go to if they have questions or if they want to get registered.
Yeah, so to learn more about our organization, you can go to TennesseeDonorServices.org, and it will tell you all about donation in general, ways to get involved with our organization. We always recommend filling out our ambassador application if anyone's interested in becoming a volunteer for us. And a lot of the time, volunteerism looks like being at events like this with us, doing public speaking, anything like that. We always recommend filling out that application. And then it'll have links to get connected with certain employees there if you have questions for any whatever reason. It's a great site to go to really just get the whole rundown of our organization and then organ and tissue donation as a whole. If you're interested in registering to become an organ donor, you can go to DonateLifeTN.org and fill out the application there. It just asks a little bit of personal information, and it puts you right on the registry.
All right, we want to encourage everybody to go out to those websites and look at the information, become familiar with it. If you have questions, reach out to Gracie's team, and they're more than happy to give you all of the information that you need. Organ donation is so important, and so we encourage you to consider it. We all get it when they ask you when you're doing your driver's license, and now you do them online, so nobody can ask you. But we encourage you to go to DonateTennessee.org.
DonateLifeTN.org. Yep.
Okay, TN.org, and review the information.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you have any questions, to reach out to Gracie and her team.
Absolutely. Our team is always here to smooth over any concerns that people may have, so that
misconceptions.
Or misconceptions, yes. So that they're comfortable making that decision to give the gift of life. Yeah.
Gracie, thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for us today. We'll be back again on Monday here on Power Lunch. Up next is the John and Heidi Show right here on 101.5 The Ride. Have a blessed day, everybody.